Hey, it's raining really hard outside. Wow, it looks like the end of the world. What's up, it's the Culture Detective here investigating your favorite albums. And today I'm going to do a review on the latest Modest Mouse album. I didn't even write down the album title on the script here. The Golden Casket. So, yeah, originally I didn't really want to review this album because I just wasn't really motivated to. There is something about this album that just makes me want to shut up about it. Maybe it's because I'm not that familiar with the works of Modest Mouse, but I think it's more so because this album is just bad, and in a way, it's just bad. Similarly, there are also albums that I have listened to lately that I also didn't have the motivation to review, like Doja Cat's Planet Her or the latest Half Wave album. Maybe I'll review them at some point, but I just lack the motivation to. But anyways, this latest Modest Mouse album is bad. They basically went from being uninspired to misinspired because the one word that I would choose to describe this album would be messy. This album is messy. It sounds messy. It really, like, all these electronic production, these glitches, bleeps, and bloops, these really ragged, jaggedy guitars, these rough vocals, these very compressed drums, all thrown together randomly and not even in an avant-garde way. Clearly, it is a friggin' mess. It is like a pile of trash. It is like if a trash can somehow exploded and everything just came out of it. That's exactly what this album is. I mean, just look at the album cover. It already looks like several album covers mashed together, and that's basically what the album also sounds like. The vocals are really rough and mumbly, and the production is just very overcompressed. We have album opener Fuck Your Acid Trip with the vibrating guitars, the finger snaps, and the very ugly, rough vocals that are very layered. And I listened to some of the older Modest Mouse stuff. Apparently, their vocals aren't like that before. Back then, their vocals are actually very lively and fun, but for some reason on this album, it's just very rough and layered, like listening to sandpaper. And then we have We Are Between, which is like an LCD sound system song, but obnoxious. Then we have the track We're Lucky, which is a pretty fine ballad. I mean, it's fine, it's listenable. The instrumentals are pretty slow paced, also pretty safe, which is pretty much the reason why it's fine, because this is one of the least messiest songs on the entire album. I can pretty much say the same thing for the track Leave the Light On, which I also kind of like. Melodically, it is one of the better tracks on the album, and also for some reason it kind of reminds me of like the Black Keys, but if they are milder and a little bit more experimental. Then we have the track Walking and Running, which starts off kind of strong actually. It's a pretty exciting rock tune with a lot of energy, but the ending is just incredibly ugly. Again, just all the instrumentals clashing into one another. It's not a good thing to hear. The track Wooden Soldiers has got to be one of the most hideous songs on the entire album for me. And the instrumentals are very disjointed, and again, it's not for an aesthetic purpose. It's just so disjointed for no reason whatsoever. It's trying to be a solid rock song while sounding like a very strange mess at the same time. We have these glitches and these bleeping blooping keyboard sounds mixed with these guitars, which sounds like a Walking Dead corpse. The whole thing just sounds very hideous. The track Transmitting Reading is a bit of a low key cut on the album, and the lyrics are supposed to be encouraging, except it comes off very cartoonish, very shallow, and it sounds like it's trying to achieve a certain vibe, but it totally misses it. And then we have The Sun Hasn't Left, which is a very colorful song, and at the same time very noisy and squashed, which again just sounds really awkward. The instrumentals are a mess. Lace Your Shoes is a really heartwarming track about being a father, but at the same time, instrumentally, it's just kinda mediocre. The track Never Fuck a Spider on the Fly has a pretty bad song title, and it's not paired with the song at all, because the song isn't like this really wacky, fun thing. I mean, it's wacky, but not for the right reasons. Lyrically, it is basically about information overload, but it never really reaches anywhere deep or profound. And overall, instrumentally, it just sounds kind of ugly. The track is basically this sunburnt, slow paced rock track with a very stale chord progression. It just sounds like spoilt yogurt. Then we have Japanese Trees, which has a punky riff and punky drums, but again, just the really jagged guitars, and it's just so rough and so crushing for no reason whatsoever. And then the album ends off with Back to the Middle, where we have these nice, sweet, and warm guitars, which does not progress anywhere. It's a very bland and boring chord progression, and the vocals are somehow very hushed and whispery, but also very rough at the same time. So it's like listening to sandpaper, but small. And the ending is, for some reason, really loud and crushing and noisy, which is kind of forgettable still, despite its explosive finish. So I know I'm like hopping on the gravy train or something, but obviously this album is not an enjoyable one. I did not enjoy this album. I think it's a mess. And for some reason, I'm kind of tired today, maybe? I don't know. I'm giving Modest Mouse' latest album, The Golden Casket, a strong 2 out of 10. Maybe a decent 2 even. But yeah, it's terrible. My favorite track here is We're Lucky, and my least favorite is Wooden Soldiers. So, have you listened to the latest Modest Mouse album? From 1 to 10, would you rate it, like it, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching.